All right, it's 19 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. Great morning to you, Trinidad and Tobago. It's our morning show. And of course, I know a lot of you have already started experiencing the traffic as a result of more students going back out to physical schools. So this morning we wanted to check in with two of them, two very nice, young, intelligent ladies, just to find out and get their perspective on the reopening of schools, of physical schools, because first they were in schools, then they were home, then they were back in schools, then they were home, then they were online, now they're back. All right, so you understand. But let's welcome to the program Samara Peters-Charles, who is at St. Joseph Convent, St. Joseph, and Sierra Peters-Charles, who is also at St. Joseph Convent, St. Joseph. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. How you doing, Cece?
I'm good.
Sammy, how you do?
I'm fine as well.
You're fine?
Yes.
Samara, let me start with you. The reopening of schools, what was it like for you? You went back to school earlier last year. What was it like for you getting back to that physical space?
Well, last year we had to go back for about a week to do labs because I had CAPE exams, Unit 1, which was good. I really like the face-to-face interactions because the transition into online school was a bit difficult for me. So now that we're back out to school full-time, I am enjoying it, as well as being home as well because I got to study on my own and do the asynchronous classes.
Yeah. And Samara, Sierra, sorry, back to school. What was that like for you?
Well, it was my first time in like 2 years, so definitely going back was mind-boggling at first, but after a while with like school and going to school in the morning, it got back to like how it was before. It felt normal after a period of time, and having to do classes at home was also a great balance because not every day I would want to wake up so early to go to school when I could sleep in a little later to do classes asynchronously and slack off just a little bit.
Well, I have to tell you, Sarah is a child after my own heart when it comes on to the morning cues, for sure. So that was an adjustment time for you?
Oh, definitely. It was definitely an adjustment. For the first time in 2 years, like I was so accustomed to waking up maybe 7:30, but to wake up at 6 o'clock, just like that little hour and a half earlier was terrible for like the first week. But after that first week, I got back accustomed to it and it felt great.
How did you find the online schooling? Did you find that it was sufficient in terms of, you know, comparing that to what you normally do in the physical classrooms?
Well, I mean, we had to work with what we had at the time, but at first it was like, this was so new, I didn't really like it at all because sometimes teachers might put on their camera and you're talking to just like a square. So it's like, you're not really guessing how it would be in physical school where you're actually seeing the teacher on the board explaining it. They would just share their screen and it was hard at first, like I definitely did not like it, but after a while, like physical school, I got accustomed to it because I had to work with what we had at the time.
Did it affect your grades at all?
Actually, no, it didn't. My grades actually went up a little higher because of the online school. Yeah.
And Samara, what about you? Did it affect how you performed?
Not really. My grades have been constant, but the online transition was hard for me because
what made it so difficult?
I like to interact with my teachers. I actually have a good relationship with all my teachers, so just being able to, you know, be more comfortable to ask questions and all the things were really the highlights of my physical school experience. So doing that online was kind of hard, especially doing CAPE online. For a whole year online, doing CAPE was not easy because I think CAPE should be a hands-on approach to doing stuff, like you talk to your teacher in person. If you have a topic you're not understanding, you know, you could pull out your book and say, miss, you know. So it was a bit difficult.
Were your grades affected last year when we had all this hullabaloo about how CXC was marking?
No, because they took out paper 2. I only had paper 1 and I actually did better than I expected because it's just multiple choice, so it was better for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you aced it.
Yeah.
And both and both of you are also athletes. Talk to us, Samara, about what game do you play at what level?
I currently do volleyball at the under 18 and under 20 level. We have not been out to training much. I only went to about 3 sessions during this pandemic because it has been on and off, but they are not open right now because we still have to finalize coaching and all those things. So we are not training at the moment.
And how is the team feeling about that, about just not being able to have that play?
Everyone is it's sad. You know, everybody, especially doing volleyball when it's in a pandemic, is kind of grounding for us. So now that we don't have that, it's a bit difficult. But we're just waiting it out to see when the coaches will come out and all of those things.
Yeah, and Cyril?
Well, I do gymnastics. I'm about level 7, level 8. And at first when gym closed for about a few months, it wasn't like I was happy, but like, oh my gosh, I got a little relief, you know, training every single day. But after that, I was like, oh my gosh, no, I need to go back to gym. This feels wrong. And then I started back, and I probably wasn't as flexible as before because, you know, gymnastics is a sport that you need to stay pliable for.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I was good. I was doing gym, and then the country closed down again. And that really set me back a lot. And I actually started back training yesterday. And a few kids came out, and it was just great to see how happy they were. Like, you could actually see that they were relieved and just joyful to get out of the house and do something that they actually enjoy.
And I think that's one of the things, because a lot of times we hear that, you know, children do well, you know, when they're amongst their peers in that physical classrooms, when they're out in the physical schools. So to not be able to have that, and then sports, that's supposed to be this big relief. It's not only play, but for you all, it's also, it could actually be, you know, a career choice. Not having the two of them, did it affect your mental health at all?
Oh, yes, definitely. It affected my mental health a lot. Because most days I would just be home. Like, I'm accustomed to being so active and going to gym almost every day, training for 3 hours. So when I was home, I felt so bored, and I was like, I felt like I was going crazy at a certain point in time. And I realized that how much I really needed my sport and how much it grounded me.
Yeah. Smara?
Me as well. Before the pandemic, I would go to school, and then right after school, I'm heading home to bed for training every day. So training was something I actually looked forward to during the school day. Like, I would be like, I have training this evening, I'm excited. But I don't have that anymore, you know, it's just you're home, you study, and that's about it.
Ever got fed up of the parents being in their spaces so much?
Absolutely. Yes, it has.
Look at Samara's face. She's just like, oh my God, Daddy is going to say something about this.
But I mean, it's nice to bond with your family because before the pandemic, it's school, training. Like, at first, it was really nice to be home and spending time with my parents and like getting closer with Samara because we have gotten so much closer during the pandemic. But after a while, it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I want to leave the house.
Yeah.
It was kind of getting frustrated being with the same 3 faces every single day.
Yeah.
So I feel like I needed a change of atmosphere a lot. Yeah.
So things can happen, but it gets monotonous after a period and it becomes burdensome.
Yes, it does.
So how much does it allow you to value what you have now?
That's a great question. I guess like being with my family and stuff. I know some other kids probably aren't as close with their parents, so like I really value being able to be home with my family and having the opportunity to go out and stuff. So I really value that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and Samara?
Yeah, me as well. My dad actually recently started a chicken farm. So when we're not home, we're with him in the chicken farm.
You in a chicken farm? This is getting to be an
I
interesting conversation.
I stay from a distance, but you know, I go to help him carry the water and the feed, but I don't go by the chickens at all.
I was saying, I know
not.
my child, I was about to say, Samara and a chicken farm just doesn't seem to go well in the same sentence.
She doesn't go down in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we have mommy in the kitchen when she's cooking. So, you know, it's good to be around them, but of course the monotony, you know, sometimes you want to see your friends, a friendly face, outside of school too. But you can't really do anything about it, so.
How have your friends reacted to, you know, being cooped up as well? Have you had any instances or any examples of people just not being able to cope, you know, suffering from anxiety or depression as a result of the pandemic and all that it entails?
Yes, a lot of my friends actually, our sleep pattern kind of shifted a lot because we would stay up any night and then sleep all day during the day, and that kind of sets you back in terms of being productive. And a lot of my friends were in a slump for a while, but I think that they are, because they're older and they're about 18 and they drive and stuff, they get to leave the house more often and, you know, just have a little getaway. So Yeah, I think they're fine now, but in the beginning of the pandemic, it was difficult for everyone.
Looking at how the pandemic was handled, whether through sports or education, Sarah, what do you think could have been done differently?
I think they did what they could have done with at the time, but I think maybe with schooling, they should have maybe not. I don't think they should have brought out the Form 1 to 3s just yet, because now I won't say it's affecting me, but I have a lot less days in school, and when I'm at home, I only have asynchronous classes. So I think that maybe they could have kept the Form 1s and 3s home a little bit longer. Although, yes, I understand, Form 1, come to school on your first day, such a surreal experience. And I'm grateful that I had something like that, but I think that they should have maybe kept the Form 1s to 3s home a little longer than them bringing them out. Just think it was yesterday.
Do you think the asynchronous classes are more difficult than just being completely online?
I think it has its upside, because sometimes I might be really tired. I don't feel like staying online for a live class, but the asynchronous classes do come in handy sometimes. But most of the time, like if you're getting a new topic and the teacher just send like a link to go on a YouTube video to watch, it might be as efficient as them actually explaining it and going through it. Even if it's online, it's fine, but the YouTube videos or just the notes that they will send for you to read through is not sufficient at all, especially for a Form 4 level or for anybody who's learning something new.
Yeah. So definitely education has taken a hit in terms of how you have to learn. So you find you have to put out a lot more.
Yes, I have to like I have had to teach myself so many things aside from my teachers actually going through it. Like I've had to do a lot on my own, and I realize how much of a responsibility it is. And I think it's maybe a blessing in disguise that this happened, so that I could get a sense of responsibility that I have to not just rely on somebody to teach me, but actually pick up my book and do it myself.
Yeah. And Samara, what do you think they could have done differently, if anything?
To be honest, I think they did what they could have. I can't think of anything they could have done differently. Maybe be more interactive with these students online, because they could have made a more comfortable environment for people to want to talk and say if they had an issue with something, because everybody was kind of on their own, like not wanting to answer, a bit shy. Yeah. So maybe they could have made the environments a bit more friendlier.
But do you all realize that this was new also for the teachers as well? So
Absolutely.
They themselves, probably some of them were just swimming.
True.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
Yeah. So now that we're here, you're back out to physical schools, not really where you want to be with the training and stuff. What's next for Samara Peters-Charles?
Well, I recently started applying to universities, so that's what's next. I'm looking forward to my next step in education, and I'm graduating from secondary school this year, well, from Form 6, so, you know, that's all I'm excited for, really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in Form 4, so I have to write the CSEC exams next year. And after that, I think I want to study medicine, so I'll probably go off to university after Form 5 and write SATs and start applying for colleges. I'm actually really excited for that. I know a lot of people say they don't know what's going on, like they don't know what they're going to do in life. But like it's still early to figure it out, but I'm actually really, really excited.
So not gymnastics, medicine?
Yeah, gymnastics will always be a part of my life. Always. Not even if I don't do it competitively, I just, like, it would be a recreational thing just to keep fit. I want to be able to, like, do all my skills even when I get older, to be able to, like, you know, show people that I still have it. Yeah.
And not volleyball, what?
Yeah, volleyball as well. I mean, I was looking into going to college for volleyball, but I think I might pursue it as a more recreational, not as competitive as seriously. Maybe my mind might change if I get out more and, you know, just remember the passion I had for it before the pandemic, so yeah.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you so much for speaking with me this morning. All the best, Samara, all the best, Sierra, and looking forward to see what you all do with your lives.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I'm sure St. Joseph Convent must be feeling very proud right now. All right, we're going to take a break, but stay with us. Lots more coming up in the program.